You already know what time it is. We're back for another episode of Couch Talk, where I talk to you about recent comic news, comic memes, from the comfort and safety of my couch. It's snowing like crazy outside. Once again, I have a million of these saved because I plan on doing this video and then procrastinate. But these are all the top-selling comics from last year, 2024. Really cool to see, and I think it's really interesting to note that the majority of these titles are Elseworlds comics. These are comics that are outside of the main continuity, which is telling of what readers want from major publishers like Marvel and DC. I think it's really interesting that Absolute Batman 1 and Absolute Batman 2 were both two of the highest selling comics of the year, especially when I think that I'm enjoying Absolute Wonder Woman more than I'm enjoying Absolute Batman. I'm not saying Absolute Batman's bad, but I think Absolute Wonder Woman is definitely like the most interesting of those Absolute titles so far, with Absolute Superman honestly being a close second. Also, love the Uncanny X-Men representation that we have here. Next up, we have another list. This is from the League of Comics site for the 2024 top-rated comic series on the site. And I absolutely love that The Boy Wonder was number one on this. It's super well-deserved and meaningful for a creator like Juniba, who is the artist and writer. And if you like Juniba, then you should definitely check out the Fables of Elkwood, which is coming out soon. Also surprising to me that Helen of Windhorn is number 3 on here. I absolutely love that series. I don't think I reviewed it enough. The ending issue was like so touching. It reminded me of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, my reaction to that ending, where I just sobbed. I just cried. And yes, again, love that we get Absolute Wonder Woman on this list. Love that we get Transformers on this list. Just some really cool books that everybody's been reading, and it's really encouraging to see so many specific and diverse independent books on this list of top-rated comic book series outside of major publishers. Can't agree with this person more. The Guardians of the Galaxy issue of Ultimates was amazing. This was heady, intelligent, really bizarre science fiction, first and foremost, before it was a superhero comic. And I just can't believe how seamlessly it feels like it fit in the story of the Ultimates. It seems like there is like a major story taking place in the Ultimates. Of course, we got a ticking clock, but the fact that they're able to find avenues to include issues like this is so cool. I thought that this was a really cool image. This is Tove Jansson's, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, the creator of the Moomins comic from Finland. This is her artist space. It was an old castle that she was able to purchase as an artist studio space. Can you imagine working in a place like this? This is so fucking cool. This is every artist's dream. If you thought that this moment from Absolute Superman was derivative or pandering, I don't know what to tell you. It wasn't. It just wasn't. And also, I completely agree with this commenter's comment here. I mean, this issue was very much about expanding the characters of Superman's parents, of Jor-El, of Laura-El, and also expanding the characterization of Clark himself as a young man and informing why he becomes Clark Kent at the Daily Planet, why he has the motivations he does as Superman. And I think it's explained better and in a more modern context than his origin story that we have, and it's super refreshing. So yeah, big woman with gun good. I've been laughing at this comment for days. Yeah, Marvel Rivals is hard, y'all. I hate that someone posted this because someone should just write this. I'm worried that they're going to run into like copyright issues because someone posted this. But yes, give me this. Give me this. Holy shit. That's exactly what Damian Wayne needs now. I think he needs an elevation, a next step. I think that he's at the point where he needs to be his own Nightwing in a way. I've been reading old Namor comics, and this was such a cool comic that introduced the Dragon Man, which got me thinking about old comics and like the references and characters that old comic book writers were pulling from and influenced by. And the Dragon Man is one of many examples of the android in old comics, which is so interesting because it just seems like a placeholder word that they're able to use for something powerful and unexplainable. Like androids in comics, you have the Human Torch, the original Human Torch, who is like literally just a guy, but he has fire powers, and you wouldn't know he was an android unless somebody told you. But then you also at the same time have this thing. So interesting, and no wonder Akira Toriyama was also inspired by androids in his series in Dragon Ball Z, because the whole android thing was very prolific. Another screen grab from a comic that I read recently. This is from Superman World Saga. Planning on doing a longer YouTube video about it. This moment right here, this was when I knew, oh, this is going to be a good story. This is going to be a foundational Superman story. There's been a lot of discourse recently, I think, honestly, because of Marvel Rivals in a way, about the interpersonal relationships and foundational characterization of characters, of comic book characters. And this is a really interesting point that I think more people need to see, so that's why I'm putting it in the video, obviously. Something that Hickman truly understood in his Avengers run that I was also recently reading and loving. The way that he writes those characters feels like he has a very specific and intelligent insight into what makes these characters special, which I think is something that we've strayed away from in modern Marvel Comics a little bit, because there's just so many characters and the popularity of these characters shifts. So this person is right that this is like one of the most poetic things in Marvel Comics, and it's nice to see it represented, but I think that we need to go further and kind of find the foundational poetic factors and relationships with other characters that we can say this about. I don't know. Leave a comment if you guys think that there's other characters in the Marvel Comics universe that relate to each other in this symbiotic fashion. Every day in the new year is another day closer to the release of Absolute Martian Manhunter. Don't forget, don't lose faith. All right, thank you for joining me for another exhilarating episode of Couch Talk. These videos are harder to make than you think, because I really want to take a nap right now.